everyone. So welcome back to the Bharat Connect panel discussion for this month, March 2022. So we are going to be discussing about fix it, improve it, and make changes as our topic. So we have three great panelists. I'll go over their profile shortly and introduce us. So we have one of our panelists come back and join with us. So it's going to be a very interesting topic. So why we chose this topic is we have come across many different scenario where what is the best way of achieving customer experience, right? So one of the Gartner studies says 70% of the customer experience leaders struggle to design a project that increase customer loyalty and achieve results. So right now, one of the things, if you imagine like a 15, 20, 30 years back, there were definitive characters for a companies or way to go about to know about a company. For example, if I say Sony, right? When you say Sony, there was a character that associated with that, saying very highly quality product, right? So when people are going and buying a TV, they didn't even have to think about buying a Sony TV because the perceived value about Sony is is the high quality, it's going to be running for a long time, the best color and best quality, best audio, video, everything, right? So they didn't even have to think about any other features, this, that, anything Sony they would have gone and buy. So that's just an example. But think about that, buying a TV, for example, now, right? You go to a showroom, there are 20, 30, 40 different manufacturers, and within the manufacturer, there are so many different variations. And when you look at it, the display pieces, there is absolutely not an easy way for any common man to make any difference between looking at a TV 1 to TV 2 to TV 30, right? Because it all looks the same. The shape and sizes are different, but you can say what is different. So what does that mean? Everyone has perfected how they can get the best product out, best experience for the customers, best features, and everything. So how do you differentiate? So moment all these gaps are filled, now you are left out with how to differentiate a customer and how you are going to be able to create some kind of advantage and then create a loyalty towards a brand, right? That becomes so much critical and a little bit more not obvious way of achieving it like we used to do it in the olden days, right? So what could be the reasons, right? So let's imagine a group of people getting into a design customer experience strategy, right? Let's say first person says let us begin by considering ways to engage our target audiences. So this will give us idea how we are going to be interacting with them and everything. And then the person two says, yeah, that's good, but can we focus on conversation of our audience to customers, which is not bad too, right? And then the third person says, well, we should improve our UX to hold the attention of our audience on the purchase page, because you are bringing all the way to the purchase page, and then if they don't click on the final button buy, then it's of not any use. So how do we make that happen seamlessly without scaring a customer away, but then making it happen very quick in a nice and easy way? That is true too, and given the e-commerce and how we are dealing with. And then there are few different perspective. One of the perspective is another person saying we have to figure out a way to understand the expectation of our audience and fulfill them. It's easier said than done. So yes, we all know how to do that. I mean, we don't know how to do it the perfect way, but we all know what to do, right? We have to understand our customers and how to fulfill it. So that's a tricky part. So like that, you can go on and on. We should work toward nurturing our prospects who have shown interest but did not make the purchase. So that way, we can make them to buy one of our products sometime, in the future. or we should spend our time in retaining and upselling our existing customers. That's also a very important aspect, because we all know how difficult it is to acquire a new customer compared to retaining the one that is already experienced on product. So, and then if we happen to give one bad experience, the chances of losing the customer is very high, and then acquiring a new customer cost is very, very high too. It's not anything simple. So all these strategies, right, all have a very important points to say, and it is all true. Nothing is is better, or nothing is is a perfect or anything. But we all have to have some kind of a balance and some kind of way to figure out what works best for your industry and your product line and your customer base and the situations. It's going to demand different ways of approaching it. So without further ado, given this scenario, let us introduce our panelists here. So, and then we'll get this conversation started, right? So we have Girish Sharma, Vice President of Customer Experience, from one of our small finance bank, and then he's here with a lot of experience working in a bigger companies like a Genpact, ICI Bank, and he comes with 13 years of experience, and he has spearheaded contact center teams with 500 associates and the omni-channel and for the retail and everything. So with a ton of experience, he has, and a different flavor of experience also to share with us. And we just were discussing with him, the location, Jaipur, being in Jaipur, being able to do this, put out this kind of delivery is also amazing to me. So I would like to hear something about that experience as well. Girish, welcome to our panel, and we are so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you. And so our second panelist I want to introduce is our, I should say, welcome back, Nanda. So because Nanda was here last year on a different topic, so it was a very nice discussion. So we requested, and then Nanda also accepted our invitation to join us again for this, because this is another heavy duty on the customer experience topic. So we thought Nanda can do the justice for this. So right now he is with Vauld, and he has been actively involved in a lot of different customer experience services in the last 2 decades, right? So 25 years. And his experience includes, the latest experience includes 24/7 customers, Convergers, Ola, and Tesco, Ninja Card, and so it's like a vast different industries and different experiences, and handling a different customer base altogether. So that would be very interesting to discuss, hear from Nanda. So welcome back, Nanda. We are so happy to have you here again.
Thanks, Uthaman. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. And our third panelist is Goutham. So he's here for first time. So Goutham is from PayHuddle Solutions. So he's responsible for customer success and growth in customer revenue in his current role, right? And B2B experience is one of his main forte, and handling the customer experience is about the right things by the customers and offering value at every step of customer journey. So he believes in doing nothing but the best, and being located in Bangalore, another top locations in India, I should say, where it's very easy to find a lot of talent and also very easy to lose because there are so many companies there. So how to keep up with them, right? And then being able to provide that kind of customer experience, that's another kind of a challenge, right? Compared to a location like a Jaipur. So it is going to be interesting to hear from them, having to deal with a different experience on the geographical side, and also from their customer experience and their product and the vertical and everything. So welcome, Goutham. So we are so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Uthaman. Pleasure being here. Yes, thank you.
Sure. So without further ado, let's start. So we are going to have a few discussion points here, and then I will pull in the panelists to share their experiences. So the first this discussion point is going to be describing an example of a good customer experience and a terrible customer experience that either we have experienced or delivered, right? So either way, so where we were a customer or we were the organization providing that. So either one of them. So we'll take that input from all three of you. So so whoever wants to go first, please. So which is for all three of you, just to get the discussion being set. So Goutham, you want to go first? That's fine.
Sure.
Too, or,
yeah. Sure. Sometimes it's good to go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, while I was listening to you, right, I really felt you summarized it well in terms of the need. Even when before this even started, when I got a request for this, I was also thinking about the journey. To put last 13 years of my sales experience purely in the B2B segment, right? When we started out in the scene initially, this customer satisfaction or anything on the customer experience, it was never a point into the sales team, right? It is all about go for that hunt kind of thing. How the world has changed, at least for the last decade, I would feel that importance for the customer and the main thing what you mentioned about the retention, those things are very, very right. So when we talk about B2B, right, it is more between the company to company as an experience than an individual feeling it. That's the outset. But if in reality, what would happen is in my case, whomever we have now, we have easily around 96-97% of customer retention. I feel in a B2B, that's a really good number. So even in B2B, what would happen is the human touch is much more needed when it comes to customer experience. So whatever you do between the organization, but in the end, what stays is the human touch, the experience, what an individual feels it. So one of the experience what I can share here, this is again during the pandemic, how things toppled between the companies. I mean, most of the companies had gone through tough period. So yes. one known customer for us, especially an individual who was also growing in the company. I have seen him basically from his journey. So he got recently promoted during that particular period of pandemic. Unfortunately, things went haywire. Things were not moving. Though a lot of deliverables was assigned to him, things were not happening to him. Especially during the second lockdown, what we faced, he had a responsibility of basically launching out new system in terms of getting consultants from outside and get things done. Especially on the e-commerce side, there's a lot of load happening because of this work from home, and a lot of people were doing online shopping and stuff like that. So there are a lot of load was happening. He was a bank. I'm talking about bank customer. So he had a lot of responsibility in terms of rolling out that particular system. Unfortunately, because of travel restrictions, a lot of consultants were not available, ready to travel to different geographies to help him out. So that's when I was in interaction with him, what as a company we decided is we know him as a customer experience. What we felt we should certainly go one extra mile. What we did is we started delivering things remotely to him. Whatever we could do going on site, we started doing it virtually. Basically, of their resources, training them, being online, video calls, and making sure whatever we do on site, transferring the same knowledge and ensuring things move instead of keeping it on hold and delaying his launch for forever. You never know when the travel restrictions will be lifted from between the countries, right?
Yeah.
So that's when, in fact, we could able to spend first 15-20 days in training people and then delivering things. They themselves started doing it. We were only monitoring remotely, and whatever the necessary things we could send it as a software, right? Those things we could send it online. But eventually, in 2-3 months' time, the product they was able to launch, and he got really good appreciation in between his management team. How the good deed or a good customer experience result is 6 months down the line. I really got a complete migration project towards us. It is the trust what we build and going that extra mile to make sure it is not only about your deal closing or getting the payment done. If in a way, if you could do something that help some individual also grow in their thing and achieve their particular one. So there's something we had as an experience.
Yeah. Thanks, Goutham.
Thank you.
So Nanda, or Girish, who will want to go next?
I felt Girish was trying to tell something last time, and we let the Girish. Do you want to go ahead, and I'll go?
Yeah, I mean, as you wish. If you want to go ahead, go ahead. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Girish.
All right. So, considering it's your second time, so you may be feeling let's give chance to people those who are speaking for the first time. So see, I mean, what I feel and believe, this customer experience word itself has a very vast definition. When you speak to somebody, and then I also feel it sometimes when I speak to people, I mean, friends of mine, colleagues in previous organization, and when you try and speak to them and tell them that you're the part of customer experience team, I mean, they don't understand, first of all, what people generally feel and perceive is the customer experience. Acha, okay, so you are managing the customer service team, maybe, or inbound team of a bank, let's say, managing customer complaints. So for me, what I understand from customer experience domain as a whole, or an ecosystem, customer experience is has a very vast definition as such. Now, I mean, when I divide that into different streams and different buckets to work around and have a team structure in between, one is a reactive ecosystem, which most of the organization generally carries, which has wherein customers approaching you for some problems, for their journey issues, or for the product delivery issues, or probably your behavior issues, your employee behavior issues, and coming to you and then taking a solution from you. Maybe happy, maybe sad. You sending a customer satisfaction survey to them, they are responding back saying I was happy with the solution or I wasn't happy with the solution, and then event gets closed. That's where what I feel and believe in the banking industry. What we do is we treat that customer complaint as a event. That event happened, that one transaction happened, he wanted to ask something, you gave him the information, your event closed there. That's it. Nobody is going back and checking the entire ecosystem or the entire journey of this business, understanding with the objective of why did that customer had to call me to ask this question?
Yeah.
Why this customer had to go through that problem which I soluted? Why is that I had to build such a process which may be full of compliance related process tests which are to be taken care of, and then I had to create such a problematic journey for a customer wherein customers are tend to get stuck, and then they call up and tells you that was your process is very bad, your mobile application doesn't work well, or I use, because I mean, customers are always about comparing you with the other services that they generally use. Maybe one customer who has a bank account with you may also has 3 accounts with other banks, and they'll say it doesn't happen that way in that bank. Why does it happen that way in your bank? So, I mean, what I feel and believe that most of the organizations fail here. They treat customer complaint or customer grievances or their queries as an event for that specific customer. They try and address it well. Maybe try and remove the IVR process in place. Let's remove it. Let us talk our agent to the customer directly, so that he'll feel delighted and he'll feel like that I'm talking to a human. He'll be able to explain his problem well, and then he'll get a solution after all. For me, customer experience is going back and checking that data, getting into the detail of each and every transaction and event that happened and that made a customer facing a problem within my services, or the behavior of my people also creating a bad customer experience for me, and going back and making process improvements, taking corrective measures in terms of behavior of our people, those who are going and interacting with the customers on behalf of the organization, and checking out the entire delivery process, right from sourcing a customer, and then the end point is till the time customer repeat that purchase probably, or makes an alternate purchase with the institution, or which is right now as a very buzzword in the market, is the technological experience, because majority of the organizations work both ways. They work on a physical model and on the digital model too, which people are adopting slowly, steadily. People, those who were not there in the digital platforms, I mean, they are feeling the need of it and they're getting into it post-COVID situations. And the technological experience is something that I have kept completely, I mean, different, is because this is still an area which is still evolving. This is still a place wherein people are still, I mean, there are a lot of innovations happening. Customers are coming up with a lot of expectations. People want things, I mean, people adopting to these platforms actually is a different set of customers altogether. I mean, why would somebody want to go to a mobile app and make an NEFT or RTGS or a IMPS transfer or a UPI payment? Is because he wants something quickly. He wants something to be safe. He doesn't want to visit a branch to get a RTGS or an NEFT done. So set of expectation of that customer who is using my mobile app and the expectation of a customer visiting my branch and getting a RTGS NEFT done is completely different. So that way, I mean, behavior or interaction experience is one part in my bucket list on which we generally work. The delivery experience, the technology or digital experience of an institution, and then making the corrective measures at your back end so that your front end looks much more comfortable, customer centric, easy, delivering the product quickly. These are 4 or 5 things that you make customer believe and feel. The last time when you came in, there was a problem in a bank, and then a lot of customers were facing the same issue, and then we've rectified it. Now this time when you're coming to us, you won't feel it. Then customer will think in a standpoint saying, yeah, last time when I came 6 months back, I applied for a loan with you. It took me 15 days to get a loan through, and I complained about it. There must be other people also complaining about it. And then the next time that I'm coming with you for a year time or a 2 year time, you would see the things happening at a much quickly. I mean, larger speed, or maybe with a lesser document, or maybe with a much more digitized approach. You don't have to get somebody to your place to pick up the documents. You have to just click a photo, upload it on my platform itself, and the things gets done. So that way, these are the things which I feel and believe. Getting into the detail, because I mean, this is what that we keep on saying. We are into the retail industry, and retail is all about detail. So retail is detail. I mean, when you get into detail, you will come up with 5-10 things on which you need to work, and then you can increase the customer experience. I mean, that's what it. And one of the very important aspect which I have learned over these years and working into different domains of sales, collections, credit appraisal, everywhere is in any of the specific department, you will have a very limited scope of work. Let's say sales. So you will have to align your marketing strategies well, and then you have to go all out, talk to customers, go and tell them about your product, and then eventually it will get sold. But when you talk about customer experience, look at the view. I mean, it's everywhere. It's a part of your sales process. It's a part of your collections process. It's a part of your credit evaluation process. It's a part of your grievance redressal process, everywhere. So it's very huge and a very vast subject, wherein people tend to get lost. I mean, that's how I personally feel and believe. You don't have to bite the bullet with your teeth. I mean, you don't have to address everything. I mean, at the one point, you got to prioritize the things that has less of effort, giving you the maximum output in terms of experience and the delivery, and things which has I mean, larger input in terms of effort, and then giving you a lesser output should get deprioritized, and then you should focus on the things which are making more outcomes to you. That's how I feel and believe about the customer experience.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Girish. So it's a like a totally different perspective and experience altogether from the banking side. Detail, more in detail. Yeah, Nanda.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Goutham, Girish. I think you guys beautifully covered. I think customer service as an element. Going extra mile. Something Goutham highlighted was beautiful, right? And I think the perception or the understanding of the word customer service, currently that exists, right? Beautifully explained by Girish, right? So I'm going to just kind of, considering you both literally covered every element, most of the element, I'm going to just talk a little bit more about it, right? So I think, and I would also try to kind of add my personal experience, which could have, been worked on in a different way, right? Yeah. So largely from a customer service point, yeah, Girish also covered the data point. So for me, I think customer service in the last 2 decades have been evolving, right? I think largely customer service started being a problem comes and we solve, right? And what is the real meaning of the customer service is largely depending on the organization, right? Because the real customer service is a thin line between what an organization can offer and what customer can get, right? Because at the end of the day, right, if I give you a simple example, I think in a layman's language, best customer service would be taking the clothes to the customer. For example, in a garment industry, take a bunch of clothes to the customer, show everything, he can pick up what he wants, he can try at home and then give the leftover, right? This is practically not possible by all the companies, right? So I think first as an organization, understanding that thin line, to see what is that we can actually cater, right? And try and work around catering that element beautifully, right? So we don't have to, how do you say, just because a lot of sources are there in today's day, right? Like social media channels, voice, chat, and all of this, right? So we don't have to be there, is because why do we have all these channels is to go ahead and service those customers who are calling us and telling that there is problem, right? In reality, if you look at it, I think the industry says that only 22 to 26% of your customers having problem call you. Rest all don't call you, they just leave you, right? So the real customer service is not about solving the problem to those 23%. I think I would rather look at those 100% so that I try to take that 23% callers data, go back and look at internally to see how much more people would have experienced this problem, right? So that way, again, right, I think from where Uthaman you started, right? It's about getting 50 customer is definitely difficult, but if you let go that 50 customer who are already doing business with you, means they are not going to come back to you ever, right? Yeah. So for me, I think it's that, evolution that has happened on customer service side in last 2 decades, that is being reactive to being preventive to proactive, right? I keep telling about this in most of the discussions that I do. I think today is an era of predictively solving the problem, right? So when you say predictively solving the problem, don't let the customer contact us, right? Why do you want so many channels to solve the problem? Don't let the customer call us, right? A simple example, not mentioning the brand, I use multiple internet connections. So I have this really, famous internet service provider, where with COVID, people are working from home and the bandwidth have raised, unexpectedly internet goes down. Mm-hmm. I have experienced situations where I'm calling these guys, they do that regular troubleshooting all the time, right? It's just common, right? Then they move into raising a ticket. Yeah. Even though these organizations have something like a password OTP kind of a thing to close a ticket where a technician is supposed to collect, pretty surprised that, without even my knowledge, the ticket gets closed, right? And I keep wondering, the internet is still yet to come, but the ticket is closed. Then I call them, they say, I can't reopen this, right? And they open another one. But parallelly, I have another internet service provider who calls me and tells me, when there is heavy rain, right? Or if there is some major, there is digging work going on. And if there is a cable cut, they actually proactively call me. And, I was very curious about this behavior. And I happened to ask this guy, saying, hey, how do you manage to, kind of call me and inform? And the guy says that, sir, I know when this cable gets cut, how many people get impacted, right? So I immediately kind of, inform the customer service team to call those customers and proactively take 4 hours, right? And he tells me that, sir, actually the problem is going to get over in 1 hour, but I'm telling you 4 hours is in case if there is a complication, right? And they're not even a large internet service provider. For me, that is like a predictable and combination of proactive and predictable service providing, right? So for me, the reason I gave you this example is this is a pain point and elimination of pain point without me calling, right? So that is the service, that I'm intending to, right? Or rather, I think as an organization, again, just to go by step, right? Going an extra mile is definitely, definitely something everybody should look at. Second thing is understand what is the thin line of service that you want to provide. The third one is, instead of listening to customer trying to solve the problem, look at the data, like Girish mentioned. Go ahead and see how you can actually go ahead and proactively solve the problem. Because India as a country, right? For example, if I take India, I think around 35 to 38% of the people are on smartphone, right? So we end up building a lot of self-service kind of a option for the customer. But with 38% of the Indian customers being on the platform, right, on the smartphones, that means that there is still larger population on the feature phone. So what is that service, proactive service that can be given? Or even in that 38%, if you look at it, a good 8 to 10%, even now we know at least one person, all of us, right, where they use smartphone only to answer the phone and disconnect the phone, right? So I think it is about an organization identifying those top opportunities, picking up and seeing, if there is a process change or a technology change or a system change that is required, right? Because when you do that, then you're fixing 100% problem. It's not Nandu's problem alone, right? It is about 100% of the customer's problem. So for me, considering we're talking about, fix it, know it, then I think it is 2 steps behind, right? We actually should look at the data and decide who is that who had problem, who is that who's going to have problem, right? That is, next generation customer experience.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's nicely put. So like when we're talking about the customer experience, one thing that came to cross my mind is I heard one of the our guests saying that, so when there's a couple trying to stay in a resort, and they were supposed to be reaching there by 11 or 12 in the morning, but then they got stuck with their work. They started late, so by the time they were driving there, 1:30 or 2 o'clock, they called the front desk and told them, we are on our way. Could you please keep some lunch for us, because we don't see any options on the way. So, but we are on our way. We will be there. So after hearing that, and the front desk person who attended the call, what he did was something remarkable, right? So he said, he asked them, where are you? And then they explained where they are. And then he said, okay, he did not say anything. And so he said, okay, we will make arrangement for you, ma'am. So please come. So, and then after hanging up, his shift is done in the afternoon. So he was going to go back home, and then, but he, instead of going back home, what he did is packed lunch for the couple, and then took it with him on his two-wheeler. And then he started driving another way where the couples are coming, because it's a hilly resort, right? So there are not too many ways they can come. So he knows exactly where they are stuck and how the traffic conditions are going to be that time of the day, and he knows that. So he knew there's no way they are going to make it to the resort by 2 or 3. It's going to be a lot much later than that because of the traffic conditions. So he went there. He delivered the lunch to their in their car itself, and then said, "Okay, ma'am, so take care, and then I'll see you tomorrow." So they were really stunned with that kind of experience, because they didn't expect somebody to come and deliver the lunch, because they was just sitting there, when the inch by inch traffic is moving. So what it tells is Girish and Nanda, Goutham saying, it's not just like, sales. It's not just a customer service person has to do that. It's not just like, any particular person can do the customer service or like, give that kind of experience to the customer. It is everybody's responsibility one way or other, and understanding it and going the extra mile. Because now, if you ask that couple, like, they wouldn't even think twice staying in that resort for like, how many hour more times, right? Because it's like, they are going to keep thinking about this particular incident and then feel good about it, going and staying. So, like, so like that's one of the like very good use cases, like, the good success story I heard in the recent times. So, okay, so we are like, taken like a little bit longer than what we expected for the first round. So we have a few more points. So Nanda, the second discussion point is going to be for you, continuing with like, what we discussed. We keep talking about offering proactive customer experience, like what you just explained, like, how we can be proactive. So we don't want the customer to call us, so we want to be one step ahead, right? So you explained also a little bit more about what we can do on that everything. So is there anything that organization can ensure proactiveness at every touch point?
Perfect. Thanks, Uthaman. So I think, largely, like I told, right, I think the evolution that happened, for customer service from a reactive point, right, I think we have reached, again, in my own words, right, we have reached a point where things work predictable way, right? So I think one of the suggestion, or, one of the way, that I look at is, see, definitely our top 20% of generally, right, our top 20 to 25% of our contact is what contributes to 85 to 90% of the contact, right? So if we can actually pick up, I think we generally, organizations fail is because they always look at those top opportunities and try to kill those only top opportunities, right? Because top yield better and larger results, right? But something that we can do is we can also look at multiple small elements, right? Try to combine it and see why is that customer calling you, right? So for example, let me give you an example of what I did in NinjaCard, right? So in NinjaCard, we actually noticed that, one of the reasons, where customers were unhappy was, we found that, our app here and there used to freeze, and quite a few app issues, right? Maybe customer would have booked towards the last screen, it is stuck, or customer got the delivery and it stuck at the feedback stage, right? Now, this was happening due to various reasons, right? They used to call center would probably try to reset the phone. And why I'm giving you this example is, this is one place, where I saw a diverse customer base, right? From a street, what do you call, push cart vegetable seller to, a large customer as Flipkart, right? So catering to everybody became, when app issue came, and if it is a person who is actually not well versed with the app, then that was not only impacting customer service, but it was also impacting our sales, because it wouldn't let us do more orders, right? So one of the proactive way that rather I would call it predictive way is, we started trying to capture every log of the app's behavior, right? For all the active customers, right? We used to take last 4 to 6 weeks active customer, try to pick up the log. We started breaking those logs, right, by good problems and bad problems, right? Generally in the technology world, right? For example, if it is app, good problems are something like, customer clicked on something, which was irrelevant, right? For example, the cancel option is enabled only between 4 to 5, but because the button is there, customer will still press it at 2 o'clock, right? But that's a good error, right? So that way we actually started solving the problem. And I think when we originally started, our problem was trending at around 12 to 13%. I think towards 4 weeks or 5 weeks later, we ended up having that problem down to 0.41% or 0.21% kind of a number. Oh. And this not only eliminated, you won't believe, there were customers, who, how do I say, the retail guys need that vegetable in the morning for them to do that business, right? If they don't get it at 6, 7, then that day's business is a loss. So people would reach out to the CEO of the organization, right? It completely kind of eliminated the problem, right? It's because I didn't go and try to find out who all called and solve the problem. Instead, I went back and tried to take the problem of everybody who had this problem, right? So it was a little bit of a tedious work, but I think this is where our one of the element covers, right? Which is every department in an organization own customer service, right? See, this is where customer service, technology and product team, right? All three literally work together, right, to nail this problem. And this literally actually gave us a good spike in our sales also, because customers kept on ordering, because it was a daily requirement, right? So that's one example, and that's one proactive or a predictive way of solving the problem that I did.
Okay.
I've done a lot, but I chose that element is because having that kind of a diverse customer base, it was unique to solve the problem.
Unique, yeah, that's a good one. So
thanks.
So next point, Gautam, so we want to get your opinion on this one. So customer experience starts when customer hears about you until you engage and grow them into loyal customers. Mm-hmm. How do you understand the customer expectations at each stage? How do you structure your customer experience strategy, and what process do you follow here?
Sure, thanks. I mean, I have to say what Nanda mentioned, right? Especially how the things moved from being reactive to the proactive in the last decade, right? I'm definitely with this permission going to use it in my next discussions as well with the team. Okay, but coming back to how in an organization, especially between the companies when we interact, right? The main element, what the major thing what we face is the how to minimize the surprises that customer can face in each stage, be it considering any project between the companies, right? What happens is like it goes through its own cycle from the initial requirement gathering till the invoicing. There are like so many stakeholders in each company who will be involved with the other basically the customer. It is not only sales responsibility or a customer experience team responsibility to ensure customer satisfaction, but when it comes to organization, there are so many customer facing guys at each different levels they interact. So what as a company we have basically structured is avoiding surprises to client in each stages and keeping it very simple, minimalistic and transparent. That's the key for us, because be it from your proposal stage or requirement gathering stage, there is no surprises that, okay, I understood something, this is my expectation. Okay, 2 months down the line, okay, this was not my expectation, or we both are not in the same page. That's never gonna work out between the companies. It has to happen between each stakeholders from every stage, be it a front desk guy who's gonna pick a call and greet the customer, or a finance guy following for the payment. So everybody has to take their responsibility in making sure how they treat customers, and also in terms of minimizing that surprise factor, right? That will basically help us in retention. So no sales can sustain the business without support of the technical team or the other team members also working towards the customer satisfaction. So having the necessary tools in place. Now, I mean, in this era, right, you have so many tools available, be it from the requirement gathering or the project management. In every stage, you can have data where you can have both customer and your side of it on the same page, ensuring both of you travel together. At the end, it's a happy journey, right? So there is no surprises in between. That's how I believe works. I mean, it is working for us. Definitely, it should do good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, thanks, brother. So the next question, we'll go to Girish, and then if time permits, we'll get input from Nanda also. So what are the most significant customer experience pain points according to you? How do you measure your customer experience, and what metrics do you follow, and what technologies do you use to measure them? Because we want to see how does it relate to the pain points, and how do you address them? So we just want to see what are the main points and the technologies, and how do you measure, and how do you go about it?
To answer this, basically, it's a world wherein we are right now. I mean, if you talk about 2022, we are living in a world of hybrid delivery solutions, wherein there are people, those who are only delivering over digital channels. There are businesses and organizations delivering through physical and digital solutions.
Mhm.
If I were to say, it becomes very subjective when you were to make a statement that customer experience across the organization, across all channels is same. Because your both the channels, or I would rather say in both the channels, there are a lot of sub channels too, when customers coming and interacting with you and probably buying your services or just doing a window shopping. Uh, and how are they rating the experience of your application or your digital application, or maybe your physical services? I'd say when it comes to physical, it's always the traditional way which generally works is getting the mystery shoppings done through people. And when it comes to digital, considering what Nanda just now mentioned, saying everything that your customer do, there's a log which is available.
Yeah.
So you can anytime, anyway, anytime take that data out, sit on it and do a brainstorming and just break that data in different pieces and can understand what are the steps, what are the tools, what are the functions specifically making and resulting customer giving a bad experience, saying sending there are a lot of other features too which are available, saying you send a survey with some top 3 top 4 questions, customer responding back to you, you'll have to go back and check that what's the specific journey that customer has recently gone through, and
Yeah.
you will have to just piece that entire journey out, and you will realize that what specific function that customer was actually using and giving you a bad feedback. It's
Yeah.
not that overall platform itself was not that great. It's always about that specific interaction or that specific transaction or that event which actually not yielded the expected delivery, and then actually customer is giving you a bad feedback.
Yeah.
So if I were to saying 100 customers, and then obviously speech analytics. People working out of customer service centers and everywhere. There are a lot of, old school way was going back and doing a random audit of call recordings and then just figuring out whether customer was being serviced well or not. But now, technological solutions like speech analytics and so on and so forth, they'll give you the transcript of all 1 lakh or 10 lakh calls that agents would have probably taken. They'll just
Yeah.
give you those filters with the keywords saying that these were the keywords which were being used with these set of customers. Then you can go back and anytime check the entire journey and the problem statement that customer is basically telling you. And then would obviously know that these are the points on which your people require training, and these are the things that your system requires correction. These are the things that your brick and mortar model of your branches or your physical delivery locations or your store needs to correct their processes or probably the behavior of their people. That's it. That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Like the speech analytics, for example, this place could be used as one of the effective tools here, specifically. So yeah. Otherwise, going through millions of calls and understanding what they are talking, it could be painful.
It's very difficult, to be honest, controlling. Let's say you got 50,000 people organization,
Yeah.
out of which
Yeah.
there are only 50 people doing a software development. You can watch over 50 people, but you can't watch over 25,000 people working out there, talking to people and interacting on behalf of your organization. How are you going to check that out? It's basically, if they are structured and connected to a system, you can use things like speech analytics. And if they are not connected to, if they are working on a brick and mortar model, you can obviously do a mystery shopping at any point. Getting into any agreement with any of the partner.
Okay. Okay. So, Nanda, you have anything to add to this point? This one?
I think Girish has largely covered and summarized. I think one of the element that I can actually add at this point is uh, look at what are the options, look at what are the opportunities that is required, right? And identify those options instead of going. I think if you remember, our backstage conversation was or maybe in the conference, right, there is no one pill for all solutions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think customize the solution based on the need of the hour, and like Girish highlighted, right, use what's relevant at that point and kind of explore to see how you can solve the problem, right? I think that's largely it from me.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah. So yeah, we have 10 minutes left. So let's get over these two next discussion points. So Gautam, it's mainly for you. The customer experience is everyone's responsibility. How do you ensure that every department is aligned to offer the best possible customer experience? How do you define the KRE for every role to reflect this?
Okay, to continue from where I left from the previous point, right? It is the same in line, like every team, I mean, of the particular project, whoever is involved, right? It is their responsibility to ensure it is delivered as per the expectation, and the surprise element, what I mentioned earlier, and having I mean, we basically follow the old school feedback, the survey one, that always helps. In the customer journey, whoever they had interacted from our side, we ensure we take feedback at the end to make sure, okay, what part, how it went for them, be it in the effort scoring, or in terms of how easy for them to interact with that particular team, and how things went from each stage to next stage in terms of, I mean, how did they manage kind of stuff. And see, what I believe is, once you win the deal and whatever the project you handle and deliver, getting a feedback for that is very important. Equally more important is the deals what you lost.
Yeah.
Right. That's where it's going to define the future, or the I mean, how we going to take ahead as a company. You would have lost it for a specific reason, be it from the pricing angle, or be it from any point of it. If something we have lost as a deal, getting a feedback for that will be very much essential, as equal as, I would say, for a successful project. So that's, I mean, it is part of all the customer facing guys in the company has to own that responsibility of managing it the way it is expected.
Okay.
Just to add, Uthaman, I think definitely one of the biggest change that is required is thinking that customer service team's responsibility of customer satisfaction belongs to customer service team. I think this is something that every organization should move out, is because the problems are actually not created by customer service team, right? So they largely go ahead and solve the problem, right? Yeah. Like Girish said, definitely there is opportunity where agent could have from a soft skill point, he could have tuned or tweaked something. But I think one of the things I'm largely working on in at least last 3 to 4 years is an element that, as an organization, I'm making sure that customer satisfaction is an element of every department in the organization, right? Because everybody owns it. For example, even a poor attrition can impact customer service, right? It could be largely a human service, HR metric, or it could be an operations metric, but a right unplanned attrition can impact customer service, because that the last bit when customer is calling us for help, right, you don't have somebody to answer the call, right? So that way, at least last 3 to 4 years from predictive point, when I told you, I have moved away from looking at customer behavior data. Instead, I try to blend both the data with this customer behavior and organizational behavior, because large of the dissatisfaction is caused as an organization, not as a customer service team. So
Yes.
that's one thing, every company should realize and start reviewing this metric for every department instead of getting into a customer service review and asking them, hey, what is the customer satisfaction score, right? Because that is not the realistic number.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to what Goutham said.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, because it's none of these issues are created by them. They are dealing with somebody else created. So yeah. Good point. Yeah. In fact, when they are getting a call about a particular department, that was created by a particular department, that should reflect back to that particular department rather than to the customer service representative who attended that call. So
very true, very true. No, one point. I mean, on the similar line, right? Whenever in the team, whenever I discuss, I hear, okay, this customer is good. Okay, this customer is okay. He's not a good customer. No, there is no word as such like he's not a good customer. Basically, the expectations were different. That probably we couldn't align with it, or we didn't see as a team that okay, it is sales responsibility that they should have done it, or this is that team or they didn't deliver it. It is not. It's collectively as an organization. How do we ensure that every customer is a good customer?
good customer.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so we're coming to the last point. So we have restrict our time to probably 40 seconds for each one of you. I'm going to get input from all three of you. Before that, so audience, if you have any questions, we are going to run short of time. So please start typing in, and then let our folks gather those questions, and then we'll get back to the questions immediately after going to this last discussion point. Okay, so the last discussion points is for all three of you. We'll start with Girish and Nanda and Goutham. So tell us some good practices that you follow as part of your customer experience function.
If I were to say good practices, there are many that we've been doing since long. So if I were to speak about one, is it'll have a little essence for your last question too. How do you align that customer experience is everybody's responsibility in the organization? It's not about customer service. If I were to say, in a customer service review, the business has to be there available, because it's the business, is the sourcing team, those who have actually saw the seeds, and they have to reap. If they are reaping the benefits out of it, they'll have to reap the losses too. They'll have to also hear what their customer has to say. The service team is largely a postman. In my view, is a postman getting the problem from customer, giving it to business team or the operation team or the backend team, saying, hey, give me the solution, customer is not happy with you, getting the solution, giving it back to them, and that's it. That's their job. They're just doing a job of a postman. See, it's the business heads or the people, those who are actually responsible for revenue and everything. They should take the onus of the customer experience. The customer experience surveys, reports, those should get aligned with them. Their KPI should have the customer experience score as a metric.
Okay. Thanks, Girish. So, Nanda.
I think I'll just echo, Girish told, it's an ocean. I think, but definitely I will echo him just to break what he mentioned, right? I think every growth business and, technology team should have customer services feedback in order to build or plan anything for future, right? Because if that team, I see generally most of the time, these teams are isolated and they do things by themselves. But instead, if they start taking that one of the ingredients to create a product as customer service feedback, then trust me, this predictive way and proactive way will start playing a lot, right?
Yeah.
So you already have that problem statement when you're building a product. So, that's the key message that I have for today.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Goutham?
on the similar line, what Nanda and Girish mentioned, Uthaman. See, one thing what I believe is there's so many metrics that you can follow, and there's so many data points that you can collect. At the end, right, what matters is the mindset of an organization. Each employee, whether you're customer facing or you're sitting at the back end and developing something for the client, think that he's the boss, he's going to pay your salaries. Right. So the end, everybody has to realize if the customer is happy, you're getting repetitive business, that's how you're going to get your salaries, right? So the mindset that, okay, I don't need to care about them because I'm not directly interacting, that's not the way. I mean, whatever the metrics I follow, at the end, if the mindset changes from the root level that everybody thinks that I'm working for one end customer who's going to pay us, that will, I think most of it will get sorted there. And feedback is one thing that keeping all the team egos aside, everybody should hear the feedback, move towards how to make things better. I think that's the one good practice every company should have, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Well said. Okay. I think we are good. So we're on time with the discussion points and everything. So let's quickly see what questions are coming out from the audiences. So do we have any questions, audience? Please feel free.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Deepika here. It's amazing to hear from all of you and your experiences. So we are talking about the data points for an organization to create better experience, right, for their customer. And almost all of you have covered everything about the customer experience. But I would like to know from Girish, from the banking perspective, what do you think about the feedback survey which you're talking about? Does that really help to know the overall customer satisfaction?
So Deepika, I mean, to answer your questions, I understand what you're actually referring to, because I know the response rates are very bad. When you send a feedback survey, you get 8 to 10% of responses. That's it. So does that 10% or 8% of the population voice out for the all 100 people those are using a service? So to answer your questions, I'll tell you, just give it some time. In the current situation, it may look like, and we'll have to live with it, that 8 to 10% response rate is something that is there in the banking and financial industry since long. And then that's the only way out of it, because calling up everyone and asking them about the feedback might increase the response rate to from 10 to 25%, maybe 20-25%, but that will add a lot of cost, which none of the organization would be ready to. But having said that, I would say look at the new avenues getting created with the mobile applications and your net banking and everything. Feedbacks which are being collected from these platforms has higher response rate. 1, 2, you need not to have the response feedback from the customer itself. There's a metric called bounce rate in the digital platforms that we generally look at. If the bounce rate on your mobile application and your website is higher, that clearly tells you, even if customer is not rating you 0 on your NPS, on your customer satisfaction score, is if he's coming to your application and going out, there's a good specific percentage that customer is either not liking your services, or they are not, I mean, the feature which they wanted to be there is not available, or your application or your website is not responding up to their expectations. So there are metrics which are going to be evolving pretty soon. You will see, I mean, post COVID, we have seen a lot of migration from physical to digital, and there's a lot of evolution which is still required. People like you, me, we don't go to the branches. I have not gone to any of my bank branches last 3 years, and you will see this behavior changing. And as soon as people moving to the digital platforms, you will not have to send them a survey to get their opinion in. You will have auto-driven logs which are created in system. You just need to pull that out, and you will have actual feedback from the customer.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions from audience? Chat. Okay, so there are no questions, so like we'll wrap up this session. So I'd like to thank all panelists for taking time in your busy schedule and being here with us to explain and share your experience with us and help us understand some of these difficult topics here. So we really appreciate all of your input and spending time with us. So this event, we are doing it on behalf of the Bharat Connect. It's organization, like a non-profit organization we are putting together, and we are volunteering to spend some time on behalf of to build some better experience for BPOs and all the contact center platforms and providers within India, focusing mainly within India and around the globe. So we want to create a platform where we all come together and discuss our issues and have a conversation about how to go about it, because given the scenario with the digital age, a lot of competition coming up, and especially from the neighboring countries and everything. So to stay on top of holding on to our leadership position as a country in India, so we need to do a lot of things, and one of the things is create a better ecosystem where our industry coming together and being able to share in a healthy way, and make ourselves more competitive, to stay to hold on to our leadership position. So we thank you on behalf of the Bharat Connect, all three panelists being here, and we would request you, you could participate in future sessions or one-on-one interview or doing any blogs. We have our content writers with us who can work with you, take your thoughts and then convert them into blogs to publish within the industry. That would also be helpful. So we will be in touch one way or other. Thank you so much for all of your time, and we're looking forward to be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uthaman. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Nanda. Pleasure sharing the
Nice
panel
seeing
with you.
you guys. We'll stay connected.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Good night. Yeah.